Welcome to the Oh Brother Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith.
How's it going, Dan?
You notice I got this like gunslinger thing going every now, like in the beginning of the episode. Mike Smith. I got to like punctuate it with the fingers. It's a little bit of a you know what move, but yeah, welcome to the Oh Brother Podcast. It is October 8th when you listen to this episode, and we are coming at you with a review of the fairly recently released film Malignant, directed by James Wan. So before we get to that, for those of you not following us, make sure that you do. And the easiest way to find all things Oh Brother, Mike, you know what I'm going to say. It's to go out to the official Oh Brother website, which is OHB as in brother podcast.com. That's OHBpodcast.com. And you can get access to everything Oh Brother out there. Oh, I forgot to. Yeah, you're right. For those watching on YouTube, they got the nice Halloween edition mug. Oh, you got the. All right, Mike's sporting it tonight.
Yeah.
So we get the Halloween edition Oh Brother Podcast mug, and in honor of Halloween Fest here. But go out to the website, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos out there. Make sure that you know, if you like what we're doing, drop us a review on iTunes. We're on all podcast platforms. You know, wherever you like to get your podcasts, you'll find us there. Mike puts out a blog. We got a recent blog that's still out there about movie quotes, which was pretty cool. It was pretty.
Did you check it out?
Yeah, I did, and it was a nice departure from some of the topics that you've been covering before. So I thought it was pretty unique. I enjoyed that. So check that out, and we want to give a shout out again to our production assistant, Emily Villadero. And if you want to follow Emily, check out her work. She's very, very talented. We're happy to have her collaborating with us. You can find her on Instagram at @m_vids, which is @EMM_VIDS. We're gonna have to get Emily her own mug and figure this out.
Make it official.
That's right. So, all right. Let's you want to just dive into this now. I'm glad. All right, let's give a little bit of context here, a little background first for those who may be new to the show. Our regular listeners, this is not going to be anything new to them. I've pooped on this film previously in a couple of episodes. I watched 5 minutes of it, couldn't watch anymore, said, no, done with this, not watching it. So as we've been continuing to sort of get our Halloween Fest lineup in order, you know, we sort of kept revisiting, okay, what are we going to do next? What should we do? We just, of course, the last episode did The Fog, which was really fun. And so then we were just talking literally last night or the night before, maybe. Was it the night before? A couple nights ago, I think.
Yeah.
And so we're, you're like, give me some ideas. I give you 3 ideas from the day before. I said, I texted you already. I gave you this, that, and the other. Like, yeah, but what about, you didn't like any of those ideas. So then we got into this.
You didn't like any of mine.
No. And we got into this whole beef. And then for some reason, I got back on the Malignant kick. And I'm like, do we seriously just need to watch Malignant at this point? Because,
I was about to go to bed.
Yeah.
When you made that call.
Probably would have been a wise choice.
And then I wound up then I was up till like 3 watching Malignant.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I had watched a little snippet of it previously and didn't just kind of wrote it off, said not doing this. But I was having problems because we both watched it on HBO Max. This came out on September 10th. I think it was released in the theaters.
People are responding to it. They like it.
Well, hold on a second. Now I know, IMDb is really where you direct people, right? Have you looked at what the ratings are on IMDb? Because I know Rotten Tomatoes, you've written them off. You're like, don't go to Rotten Tomatoes. For the record, though, let me just say that the Rotten Tomatoes percentages right now for the critics, 76%. For the audience, 52%. So liking it, responding favorably, I don't know if that supports that. I mean, at least more than half, sure.
I just gave my rating, so.
Okay. So this is from director James Wan.
Well, do you want to know? You asked me to go. Do you want
the IMDb ratings? Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So the critics, 51. The Metascore, 51.
Oh, wow. Okay.
People, the
audience,
public, 6.3.
Wow. Okay.
So a little different, but
Interesting. So almost,
on the
yeah,
lower,
kind of flip
lower than
flopped.
I thought.
Yeah. Is it reviews you've seen or just things you've read that gave you the sense that, it's being received pretty well?
Yeah, I think other podcasts have said they liked it, and
Hmm.
um, I don't know. It's just hanging around. It's still in the top 10, which doesn't say much these days because it's not hard to hang around in the top 10. Like Shang-Chi is the first movie to have 4 weeks at number one.
Let me back up again to where I was watching this previously, because I just, again, literally like 5 minutes, and I'm like, I'm out, not watching this.
And I did. You remember when you told me how bad it was?
Right.
I said, well, let me watch.
I'll watch about 15
You
minutes of it or
said you
something.
watched 5 minutes. I
Give
said,
it
I'll go
10.
like 10, 15. I did the 10, the 15. I said, no,
I'm
he's
out.
right. I'm
Right.
out.
Okay. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but to some degree, not fully, but to some degree, I stand corrected. And let me explain. Let me explain.
Oh,
Let me
good
explain.
Lord, no.
No. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. So, okay, sorry.
I'm having a malignancy in my brain right now.
I can't believe, look, I'm the first to not believe what I'm saying right now, but here's why I'm saying it.
Okay.
I got past that. First of all, that first 5 minutes or so,
Is very campy.
it's campy.
It's different.
It wasn't quite as horrible as I remembered it to be, but it's still very campy, as you said. I got past that. Immediately, what I was struck by was the look of the film. It
Right.
really is well directed.
Right.
There's some incredible shots in this film. Like
But
some
that
of the
changed. That changed. That first 5 minutes, I wouldn't have believed it was James Wan.
right,
But then about 10 minutes in, maybe
totally
less
different
than
film.
that,
Totally
it
different.
changed. It
Right.
did change the direction. It looked like a professionally directed movie.
It did.
The
I mean,
beginning, something was weird.
the color palette, the cinematography, the directing, the visual effects were pretty stunning in this throughout, for the most part. Where I got off track a little bit was towards the end, which, and I want to try to do this, even though it's been out a bit, try to do it as spoiler free as we can, because that's what we try to do here, is the reveal of, I was going to say to you, I'm glad this became your bit on the show, because I don't want to try to explain this film. Do you want to somehow sum this up?
I've been thinking about it since I watched.
I'm afraid he's
like,
going to ask me, right?
like how do I summarize this? Because without giving anything away.
Yeah, I mean, we could do the Wikipedia summary if you want to go there.
No, I'll take a shot at it. If you think
Okay.
I'm going off track, stop me. But it's basically a movie. It starts off this couple, kind of typical couple. She's pregnant in her bedroom or whatever. He's down watching the game. And I think she asks him to do something. He's annoyed. He's a real jerk, the husband. And they wind up getting into an argument, and he takes her head and bangs her head against the wall. He pushes her head. She starts to bleed. And all of a sudden, the movie becomes The Ring, and that creepy black, character that can crunch her bones
It's like
all
a
sorts
shape,
of way,
whatever.
comes out of nowhere and attacks the guy and winds up twisting him in a pretzel, basically. So the cops show up.
It's a great Honeymooners reference there, but I won't get us off track.
Yeah,
He's going to twist
you and me into a pretzel.
Oh, so you're gonna twist me into a pretzel, huh?
I don't even like pretzels. Wait.
You hear that, George? He's gonna twist me into a pretzel. All right, wise guy.
Oh, he is he?
Harvey.
Harvey?
Harvey. Oh, Harvey. You're going to tell your friend Harvey.
So the cops come to investigate. They wind up arresting her for the crime and putting her in jail, which is a hilarious sequence. and I mean that seriously. And they arrest her because the doors were locked. There was no forced entry. Who else could it have been? She was the only person there. Her fingerprints are on everything, et cetera, et cetera. So as the cops go into the case, that kind of leads us through the story.
Okay.
That was okay considering.
Well, it's very hard not to just start revealing stuff. So it's really difficult.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
you know, again, I want to try to stay true to that if we can. Yeah, I got to say though, some of the again the visual effects. There's a scene towards the end where let's just say there's a couple of folks that are getting whacked. There's a smackdown at the police station.
The jail sequence is hilarious.
Well, the jail sequence-
stereotypical.
Right, but it's the visual effects in that are really pretty cool. What if you really look at what's going on and how they're making that
I want to
happen?
say something now that
Well, okay, the jail scene that Mike's talking about. What I loved about that, what was with Foxy Brown from
well,
like
Foxy
1975?
Brown, the jail sequence has got these stereotypical prisoners. She's like kind of a preppy looking, attractive girl that you wouldn't expect to see in a prison
Woman.
with Foxy Brown and the other inmates.
Foxy Brown was great. It was so out of like, what is Foxy
and it was
Brown
so
doing
out
there?
of context. She had the whole full 70s
Mhm.
gear on. I
Right.
think she had a peace sign on.
Right, right.
But I found it funny.
Well, yes, and I did as well. Around that same time, actually before that, it gets a little comical. Now, it's supposed to be really scary. So for those listening, what we're talking about should be very scary, but it's actually kind of funny.
It's really funny.
And that's what some of the reviews I've read have said. It's, there's an attempt made there, but it just comes off. And again, without giving too much away, he was either gonna pull this off or it was gonna be like sort of a gag. And
Yeah.
it just didn't work. But everything else around the film, I really liked it. I really liked it.
Have you ever watched America's Got Talent? I don't
Yeah.
watch the show,
I'd watch it in the past. Yeah.
but I saw it not even 2 weeks ago,
Mhm.
and there was a couple dancing. And it was a really funky kind of dance. She had like a veil, over her face, so you couldn't really see her. And I was looking at the guy, and I'm like, there's something weird. He had like a top hat. They were doing this jig, and then all of a sudden it got really weird. Like the body movements and stuff were like from The Ring.
Right.
And it turned out
They were reversed or something.
it wasn't a couple, it was just one guy
Yes.
on all fours with
Right.
puppets.
And that's a weird thing. That's something with horror right now. Have you noticed? There was a movie I saw. What was it? Separated, I think it was called, that I saw in the theater not that long ago, a few months back.
Really?
And yeah, this
You
was a
didn't
few
even
months
tell me
ago.
about this.
No, I think I did at the time. It's been a while. It was back in the summer, I think. But all these characters now that are like contortionists. That's
Right.
the big thing now, right? These
Right.
people that can like get their bodies in all kinds of whatever
Right.
weird positions and things. But I actually found the use of it in this film, it creeped me out. It creeped me out. Like I could see being in the theater and it would be with that soundtrack and the music that he had laid over the scenes. It'd be pretty creepy.
I mean, I think I was so caught up in the humor of it that
Yeah, but see, I didn't
nothing-
think that really entered into it until the last third of the film.
Yeah, no,
you
you're
thought it was-
right.
yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
That was the last, but up until that point,
Remember
I
we
was
did-
kind of like,
We did the Wes Anderson episode and we talked about Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, and you're like, how are you making a connection between that and this film? But remember I talked about how the sets were like cut in half like a dollhouse, the way you can CD
Yes.
and stuff, right? And there was some shots in this towards the earlier in the film, right, toward the first half of the film, where the main character played by Annabelle Wallace, right?
Wallace.
Who actually was in the film Annabelle, which we've referenced in the past with The Conjuring and all of that. She's also
I
from
thought I
Peaky.
recognized her.
She's also
from
from Peaky
something.
Blinders, for those that know that
That's
show.
a
But
BBC
anyways,
show.
yeah, well, she's English.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
But there's a scene where she's running through her house, and
Mhm.
it's a pretty big house. It's one of these old Victorian style houses. She's running
where,
around, and
where in the movie is this?
this is in the first 45 minutes, I would
Okay.
say, first half hour probably. She's running through the house, and just the camera angles from above and the way the house looks like it's stretched out, and it's hard to describe this for the listeners, but she's running through, and she's on the right side of the screen. She's in one part of the house, and then the camera pans to the left as if it passes by the wall, like through the wall.
Yeah,
And
it
then
goes through the
immediately
wall.
she's somewhere else running through another part of you got
Yeah.
to see it to
She
really
kept having these time jumps.
yeah, but
and
this was all supposed to be, well, not in the same exact moment, obviously, but it just, the editing was really pretty good. There was a few pretty bad edits in this. There's
And
a
a couple
scene,
of
there's a scene
couple
where
of-
there's a hypnotherapist that she goes to,
Right.
and won't say any more about that. But I wanted to write this down too, because that woman's name is Paula Marshall, and she's very recognizable. Now, if you don't know who she is, you probably haven't watched TV or seen a film in the last 20 years, because she's in everything. And I think, funny enough, where I remember her from, again, her name's Paula Marshall. She plays the hypnotherapist. She was in a series called Gary Unmarried with Jay Moore, the comedian Jay Moore,
Hmm.
and played
That
his
must go back.
significant other, his wife, I think. It does. It goes back a ways, because I was looking through her filmography, like, where do I know her? And she's just been in like everything, either a couple episodes here or, whatever. But there's a shot where she's, the character played by Annabelle Wallace, which is, what's her name? Madison.
Maddie. Well, yeah. Well, which is weird because the character who plays her sister, her real name is Maddie.
Yeah, that must have been fun on
It's
set.
confusing.
Trying
Yeah.
to keep that straight. Yeah. But there's a bad edit where the hypnotherapist is, you still see her from, the shot is from behind her looking
Yeah.
at Madison, and you see the hypnotherapist's mouth still going, and there's no
She
dialogue at all.
wasn't talking.
Yeah, and that's for people like us that are like way too much attention to detail. But
Well, there was a terrible foreshadow in this. As soon as you saw that trophy that looked just like a dagger, it was like a dagger with a little thing. You knew that was killing somebody.
there was a few of those things
And
in
it
it.
wound
and
up being like V from Vendetta from that point on.
I was going to be very critical of those kinds of things, but the way they were used, for example, there's all of the sort of stereotypical characters, all the stereotypes from all the cheesy horror movies were in this, right? Like
Yeah.
the four-eyed, and I wear glasses, so no, don't send us any letters, those of you that wear glasses, but the four-eyed, CSI woman who's got a thing
now
for the detective.
right. She was like over the top, campy, stupid.
Very over the top. Yeah. So it was
Like
a lot
didn't
of,
fit
right,
the movie.
right. Yeah. A
You
lot of
know,
those characters. in it.
Hey, wait till you see this body. It looks great.
Hey, speaking
Like
of
that.
speaking of
right?
Halloween
Yeah.
and the Halloween Fest, was it me or was there a very subtle, brief homage to Halloween where there's a scene where one of the characters goes to get a butcher knife out of the butcher block,
Mhm.
and they slide the knife out, and it's just the shot stays on the hand and the blade while the character's carrying it into the next
I didn't
room.
make the connection.
Like, I think that's a little bit of a
Yeah.
tip of the hat. Why wouldn't you
didn't
in a
make-
horror film?
right.
You know?
Because that's so classic from there. But
Yeah.
I didn't
Well-
make the connection.
Well, look, I liked the film far more than I expected to like it. But
Yeah.
that said, yeah, it's got some problems. It just doesn't.
It's pretty ridiculous.
It doesn't pay off. Well, I like the concept without talking about it. the specific concept. I like the
If you
concept.
if you like America's Got
Talent?
talent,
Yeah.
you know what we're talking about.
I noticed you said
Probably.
last episode, was it Maggie Grace we were talking about from
Yes.
the Mist?
She was in
And
The Mist.
you were like, yeah, she
Uh,
was also in Fear the Evil Dead Doesn't
I
Return
said that
Home.
wrong. Yeah.
Like Fear the
Instead-
Walking Dead.
Yeah, Fear the Walking Dead.
Fear
yeah,
the
that's-
Evil Dead. Or then you
I
said
did-
something like the Evil Dead comes back later. I don't know. What
I
you were talking
did.
about.
I did say that. And I said it straight. I was like, wasn't joking.
This
or
has yet to
anything.
make any money. This has got a budget of about 40 million. It's only banked about 30 at the box office.
You're kidding me.
Mhm. Yeah, I know.
40 million?
Well, and that's impressive considering now you have to give some respect for the visual effects.
I
You'd think
agree.
that
Like,
would have cost 40 billion.
yeah, because like when the room would transform and it would kind of go almost to a
Yes.
liquid,
Yes.
and then it would be a different room. Like I said, she sort of time travels, and she
Mhm.
talks about that. She says it's like all of a sudden I'm in a different place.
Hold on a sec. Emily's going to turn us into liquid right now, folks. If you're watching on YouTube, let's see. Now she doesn't have that filter.
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But yeah, at the end of the movie,
Mm.
and throughout the second half of the movie, I thought, okay, yeah, I see where James Wan directed this. I don't see 40 million in that movie. If Clint Eastwood's movie, I was telling you this last night, Cry Macho, which we reviewed last week or a couple weeks ago, is only at like 9 million on a budget of 30. Now that was, I think Malignant was also released. Yeah, it was on HBO Max
Mhm.
the same time as theaters. So we can kind of put them up against each other, although totally different audiences.
See, I was originally thinking it was a low, but now that you say that, it's like, yeah, maybe all that money was just on the visual effects. Maybe that's
it had to be.
you know.
And like Clint Eastwood's movie, I'm like, I don't see 30 million in Cry Macho. That must have all been in Clint's pocket.
Yeah, perhaps.
But and maybe the rights because it was a famous book, but
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed that the take was, although it did come in at number 3 in its opening weekend, then it dropped to number 5. It hung in there, but still 9 million in a pandemic. Although,
Go ahead.
although movies like we've got some serious things coming up. Bond, is Bond going to be able to turn a profit? I doubt. Shang-Chi is the first movie to go past 200 million
Yeah.
and
It's a good film.
has made a profit.
It's a good movie.
That's domestically. Internationally, it's somewhere around 350.
Yeah.
They say it'll go to 450, something like that. That's pretty impressive.
It is.
For a movie I didn't really recommend, or I was really borderline on.
Yeah, and before we get
Um,
on air tonight, we were talking about the whole, as most people by now would know, the Scarlett Johansson, the
Yeah, the lawsuit,
lawsuit with Disney
which it
just
was.
wrapped up.
I mean, look, if you look at our videos and the blog,
You called it.
I called every step of that.
Yeah. Right.
And we don't know what the settlement was. That's the big unknown. How
Right.
much did they? And I said, all they're going to do is they're going to give her some money and she'll go away and everyone will be happy.
Right.
That's what
Right.
they did.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting
But
story.
this movie, I can't recommend it. I've heard people say, "Oh, this is so great."
No, look, I think horror genre fans are going to really like this film. I mean,
Yeah.
if I'm coming back on after panning it without even seeing the whole thing, and now I'm like, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
I
you
think
know
that says
part
something.
2's coming.
Well, it's funny you said that because I was sitting there saying, geez, can they do that? If they can, I could seeing some, like, I can see this as a franchise, but I'm not quite sure how you do it, but
This will be the typical James Wan
like
formula.
a Saw thing. Yeah.
He'll do 1, 2, and 3, and then somebody will
to-
come in. Darren Bozeman will come in and do the rest. That's such an insult to Darren Bozeman, but
Well, we said what? Annabelle Wallace, Maddie Hassan, George Young, who played Detective Kakoa,
Yeah,
and then my favorite, his partner Reg, played by Nicole Brianna White. She was
she
really
would go
good.
off to another dimension every once in a while too.
Yeah, but I think they played the characters the way they were written, the way they were supposed to be played. You know, like you said,
Probably.
campy, stereotypical. There were some things though where, like, there's a scene between the detective and one of the other characters in the film where typically it probably wouldn't play out the way it did. But I'm like, okay, finally a movie goes where I want it to go in terms of the outcome. And I know I'm talking in code
Even
here, but
I'm not following
right.
you.
It's just they paid off things that normally they don't get paid off. Like, certain characters can
Although
never die.
I'll give you one
like
example they
Halloween
didn't.
killing a kid finally. Like,
Right.
let's have
Like
more of that.
they'll kill everyone. except
It's
the
what I
kid.
say. Hashtag more child murder.
Should be like kid bodies just trickling down the screen.
Oh, that's terrible. I am kidding, by the way. Okay, if I have to say that.
The one thing they didn't pay off is the relationship between Kay. If you're cool, you call him Kay, right?
Who's
Or
this?
did I not hear that? Was the detective who it's
Cacao.
Keiko?
Oh,
Cacao.
no.
But they call him-
Keko. I don't know.
They were calling him Kay, right? For
Oh, I didn't
short.
pick up on that. Yeah. Okay.
And I don't know because I had a clogged ear
yes.
through this.
Right,
So did I not
right,
hear it right?
right.
I don't know.
yeah.
But on the subtitles, it was Kay.
Too bad you
but-
didn't have two clogged eye sockets too, I suppose.
The sister had the hots for him,
Yes.
along with that, CSI
right, that's right.
girl. They both had the hots for him.
But see, thankfully they just let that go. They didn't wander
Yeah,
down
but-
that path too deeply. So
Yeah,
I give
except
him a,
there was
I give him
there
a
was
pass on that because he could have turned into a real sort of laughable character. But I think that guy played it pretty straight.
Well, he played it straight.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean there wasn't times it was laughable.
Right. But he was pretty good. I actually thought he was pretty good. And I wasn't familiar with him at all. Again, George Young is his name. But well,
Yeah, in this, I don't know. This is going to be one of those movies like for people, and it's weird because look behind me.
I could see
have-
watching this again. Can you believe I'm saying that? I could see
No.
this. I could watch this next Halloween because
I-
it has enough of the creepiness that I'm looking. Look, I'm a Wrong Turn fan, an original Wrong Turn fan.
yeah.
So, I don't know.
But do you see my
admit
references
that,
to
but-
The Ring
Oh yeah, sure.
and where that comes from?
But again, that's
and-
part of today's formula.
Yeah.
It's women with long black hair covering their face and contortionists.
And it's
That's
hard
what
for
it
me
is.
with what
You've got all
You
the
can see,
classics. and stuff.
like Chucky's here,
yeah,
Christine. The
right.
Frighteners is a great movie.
Frighteners is a
if-
good one.
That people because there's some humor in that
Right.
on purpose, but it's also got some scary stuff in it.
Yeah.
That's a great movie if you haven't seen it with Michael J.
The great
Fox,
Michael
who-
J. Fox.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's always Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mhm.
This is the Monsters collection, the Bela Lugosi class.
The Universal. That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And next to that is Friday the 13th, the box
The
set with
box.
all 15.
Nice.
Well, it's got 15 discs. I don't know.
That's nice.
how
Yeah,
many
real good.
movies.
I don't know.
But, I also
again,
have Saw and all that other crap behind me somewhere.
I would definitely recommend watching it this Halloween season on HBO Max. It's a good creepy take. It's what most horror fans I think are looking for in a film like this. There was a lot of gore. Like at first it was like, and then it got like, whoa, like this is like
Yeah.
really kind of intense. So
But with all
liked
the
it.
others, with all the other stuff out there and all the other movies on HBO Max,
but we're talking
you
specifically
really want
horror.
people.
We're talking.
I know,
horror.
but that's what I'm saying. Think of all the Hitchcock movies you could watch.
Hey, listen,
or-
at least again, I sat and said, okay, it's a brand new, decent horror flick in 2021. Like, I'm good with that. I don't want to get too down on it,
I would say don't do it.
All
Pass.
right, it's a thumbs up home viewing and a thumbs down no matter what from Mike. So there
Yeah.
you go. All right.
Don't
split
waste
decision.
your time.
Split decision.
Don't waste your time unless you're like a wicked horror fan.
Oh, Mike pulling out the Boston vernacular.
Yeah.
Listen, or
No.
vernacular, as it were. Well, listen, you know what you can spend your time doing is going
What?
out to the official Oh Brother website, which is OHB as in brother podcast.com. That's ohbpodcast.com. And again, you can find all things Oh Brother out there. Don't forget to check out the Oh Brother shop too on our website. We've got some Oh Brother merch
I
out
gotta-
there.
Got a story about that.
Do you?
Last night or the night before, I went to the old brother shop.
Yeah.
Went to obpodcast.com.
You didn't tell me this. You didn't tell me this.
Yeah, I did. And it wouldn't take my credit card.
Hmm.
Kept saying your code is wrong.
Hmm.
You're putting in the wrong code. I was clearly putting in the right code. So I don't know. I'll try it again to make sure there's not a problem with because we probably lost thousands of dollars of sales.
Was this an attempt at humor, or are you seriously saying it didn't
I'm
work?
totally serious.
Really? Okay.
Except about the thousands of dollars of money we lost.
Right. Exactly.
That
It's-
part wasn't.
It's clearly
serious.
tens of dollars that we've lost.
You tens of cents,
Tens of cents. yeah.
pennies and pennies and pennies. We were on a show this week. Was it this week or last week? This week
With Grant.
on Instagram.
Yeah.
we
Movie
were
buff
on-
Grant.
Yeah, we were on with Grant, and he was.
Mhm.
I wanted to thank him for inviting us, and man, he knows his Disney Plus really good. I know
He
he's going
does.
through the screen,
Yeah.
but he knows like all of those different shows.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah. And you
tell.
can,
And
I-
Tiana was on there from Tiana Loves Some Movies.
Gianna loves movies. Yeah.
That was fun.
Someone,
um,
I think she's one of the only people that can rival you in number of films watched in a day or week or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, there's a
she
few-
really, she's a
there's a few
heavy
others.
consumer of film. Yeah. Movie buff Grant _. If you want to follow Grant, give him a follow.
Yeah, good kid.
Yeah,
good guy.
he's a good guy. We're looking forward to. We're going to do another IG live with him
Mhm.
later
We'll
this
have him
month.
on this
Actually,
show.
Yeah,
we
for sure.
gotta have a couple of our friends come on.
Yeah, we
and-
should have him come on like the Book of Boba Fett or something when one of these
Yeah.
Mandalorian series comes back, or
Yeah.
something. Even though it's not technically, I mean, it's related to film, so we can get away with that. But
Yeah.
and don't forget to check out our new production assistant at
her
M-
site
at
Right
M
here.
_vids. That's
right
yeah, I
there.
think.
That's
Yeah,
it,
you
know.
probably got it. It's going to be
I got
probably
it. It's right
somewhere.
there.
It's going to be somewhere in here, I think.
Yeah.
Usually I go like this, or actually maybe it's over. I don't know. Emily, where is it? Is it here? Is it
Could be
over
here. Could be
Could
here.
be over there. Could be over here.
Can I
But
give my
it's-
video pic?
Hold on. It's at M_vids. EMM_vids. I just want to make sure I get that out there for her. She deserves it. So go ahead. Yeah. What's your video pic?
So my video pic, and it's not necessarily this particular movie. This is Frankenstein. If you can't. It's
Oh, that is a nice box.
Yeah, it really is one of those nice,
It's a really nice box. Yeah.
old
Yeah,
boxes.
I like it.
And it doesn't have to be Frankenstein, but what I'm saying, like I was listening to Saute Self.
Yeah.
He ran down like 30 movies he's gonna watch.
His latest. Yeah. The candy episode.
Yeah, and
Halloween
I sent him a
candy
note and
episode.
I said, do yourself a favor, add one of these in, one
Yeah.
of these Universal classics, Dracula,
Right.
Bride of Frankenstein, The Mummy,
Right.
something Bela Lugosi,
Classic. Yeah.
Boris Karloff.
He was
something
shouting.
like
He
that.
was shouting out The Thing. He's. I haven't even seen The Thing, and he was giving that all kinds of love. So I got to check that out.
What? Oh, the thing.
The Thing. Yeah.
With
Yeah.
John Carpenter. With
Right.
that's when Kurt Russell comes into
Yeah.
his universe. So
So that.
all
Okay.
right.
Well, I
Well,
have
you
one.
got a pick?
I do
Okay.
as you're talking. It's a little on the fly, but
Okay.
trying to stick with the theme. This is a film I've always really enjoyed. It's kind of a Sunday sleeper, but it stars a guy who is one of the most accomplished actors of our time. Money in the Bank. When we talk about bankable actors, this guy, you just like him. I don't care what he's in. You're going to go see it, whether you like it or not. And it's Denzel. Again, you don't even need to say anything else. We know what we're talking about, right? Denzel Washington.
Mhm.
And this is the 1998 film Fallen.
Oh yeah, John
is a-
Goodman.
It's a really good film. Yeah. And I
John
don't know.
Goodman, another great actor
Yeah.
that doesn't get his due.
No,
He's also
Donald
what's the horror
Sutherland's in
movie?
this.
13.
We had a little brush with at one point.
You did, yeah.
I did, yeah. And James Gandolfini is in it. And of course,
That's
we're
right.
going to be doing an episode on The Many Saints of Newark, the
That's right.
Sopranos movie. So there's a
That's
connection
right.
there as well. Yeah, yeah.
Denzel, like you said, Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank. Love that guy. And I want to call this guy out too. Is Elias? Is it Koteas? I may not be saying that right. He plays Edgar Reese in The Fallen. This is one of those guys you've seen in like all kinds of
Right.
things. Really good. In fact, he was in the movie Some Kind of Wonderful, right? The John Hughes
Mhm.
connection. And you gave me that. I have that on digital. You gave me that
Oh, right.
digital
right.
film.
Yes.
He plays a character in that as well that I just always loved from the 80s. All right. So there's your picks. You got Frankenstein and Fallen, 2 Fs. I think Mike
Yeah.
wanted maybe give a third F to Malignant, but we'll keep it clean, folks. Anything else to say about this one before we wrap it up?
No, I just don't waste your time if you're serious. This
Yeah.
is going to be one of those movie smart snob. I remember a guy that I like, the Rexer Show. He basically a video game in that
Yeah.
world,
Right.
and he does a great job. I love his show. He's very critical, which is why I like him, because I guess
No
but
surprise.
he wrote me a note, and I think you said I haven't seen Blade Runner yet, and I jumped on you and said you haven't seen Blade Runner, and he sent a note and he said, he it was about something else, but then he added, I haven't seen Blade Runner. Please don't judge me.
Right. Exactly.
And-
I'm not alone.
and- Right, and I want to be like, just because our opinion or whatever. I don't, if you love it, great.
Absolutely.
That's great. Or if
That's
you
the
don't,
beauty
if
of it.
it's not your thing, great.
That's the beauty. Look,
I
I
don't want to be a snob.
just feel grateful we have so much content to take in. And there's so many greats
Yeah.
and classics I haven't even seen, but I make time for these as well. Look, you got to give it up. I mean, this one was dead and gone, time of death,
Right.
and here we are talking about Malignant. I
I
love the
know.
fact that forever and ever, this episode of the Oh Brother podcast talk about Malignant will live on.
That's
long
right.
after we're
Long
gone.
after we're gone. yeah.
Right, right. So at least for the next 3 weeks, folks.
For me, anyway.
That's right. All right. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of the Oh Brother podcast. I've been your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith. And of course, we're going to see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody. Cut out the evil.
What?
Awful.
What did you-
What to say?
I think what he meant to say was,
It's time to say goodbye, everyone.
All right.
I think that'll make sense.
Yeah,
All right.
you do it this time. First
Much,
time.
much appreciated, Emily.
Good luck.
Round 2.